What's up, YouTube? Today we're going to talk about a car that I owned multiple generation of. It's Toyota Camry 2025. I'm going to try to be as comprehensive and simplified as possible. I had this car for about a week now. I got to drive it around, it was a pleasant, but there's a few things that I like, a few things that I don't like, and we're gonna discuss that. So ever since 2025, the new look, or should we say facelift, drastic facelift, is still on the same platform as the previous gen. It's the same length and width, even though the car does feel a little bit larger than the previous one, and they arrange things inside. It literally feels a little bit bigger and wider, even though it's just a trick. It's just the same size. Coming to the front, I don't know, not a big fan of this right here. That extra, I call it, like it's almost like an eyeliner. I don't like it. That's why I do feel it kind of look better in different trims, but we're only going to be talking about the LE, the base model. So it does look better in different colors. I even liked it in a black. I've seen the XSE, but we're not talking about that one. That's the $44,000 car, which I think it's a ridiculous price for a Camry. So it's going on me. Looks like a big Corolla if we remove that right here, and now it looks like a Corolla, just a big Corolla. So nothing special over here. Halogens. Just gonna take a look at the motor, what's powering this car. So under the hood we have the 2.5, which is a carryover again from the previous gen. Whenever I hear these words, a carryover from previous gen, it's a music to my ear, because it's a very, very good powertrain. As you guys can see, the orange, it's hybrid, and this is the only way you can get your Camry from now on, including the XSE, the 4 cylinders, the 6 cylinders gone. All we have is hybrid. It's 2.5. It's used in a different engine, in a different Toyota, like the vans, with different modifications, of course, but it's more than adequate in this car, and extremely under stressed and very, very smooth, and it's naturally aspirated again. So now they have the new logo. It's not the shiny silver now, it's kind of like a grayish to signify that it's, I don't know, it's kind of like hybrid. They long gone the yellow, the blue that comes all around. So even though it doesn't say that, it is hybrid, which I don't know why it doesn't say it, because all of them are hybrid. So coming to the side, no more steel wheels. I don't know how I feel about that, but this configuration is good. It looks decent. Maybe a little bit better, which adds to the price of the car. I wish they kept it, and it's like they shaved a few thousands of dollars of the MSRP. From the side, nothing special here. In the back, I don't know. When I saw it first time, it literally looks like somebody put the lights backwards, but it's growing on me. It's interesting design, but I would say it is modern. It is modern, but definitely the car does feel a little bit larger. Maybe it's a little boxier. It does feel a little bit larger. So you have the exhaust in the back, right there. Very shiny metal, beautiful. And the trunk, of course, we still have the mats. It's a decent size, 60/40 in the back. You can fold the seats, which I will do in a second to demonstrate the depth of this trunk. And of course, as a practical person, I like to check if they kept the yep, you still do get a freaking spare. Look at that. Look at that. Thank you, Toyota. That is awesome. Because in the Corolla hybrid, you do not get a spare tire, but you do get a spare tire in all Toyota's Camrys. So let's go ahead and, while we're here, unfold the seats. See that little hump right here, of course, because as if the new gen came out in 2018, I believe, they removed the hybrid battery from the back. It used to be the back takes a quarter of the trunk. They moved it underneath here, so it lives under the seat, so that creates a little hump over here. The pass-through is decent, nothing mind-blowing. Yeah, it's good. Do have an armrest here, get that back. Yeah, I wonder where's the breathing for the hybrid battery. Oh, it's right here. It's right here. It's right here. Make sure if you have any hybrid, do not block this under any circumstances, because that will completely suffocate the hybrid battery and cause it to failure. Anyways, decent. Let's see. We got the cover here. You definitely got the they did add a lot of nice features, safety features. So here we have my seat adjusted to my height. I'm 6'2", for reference. And let me sit behind myself. Okay, not the best, but it's plenty of room. Okay, you do have type A in the bottom right there, and type C over here, and you do have vents in the back, which is pretty nice to have. And for those who don't know, you also have vents underneath here. That's for the feet. I usually in the summertime I just leave some drinks over here by the vents and blast the AC and keep them cold. So that is a trick for you guys. Anyways, you do have pockets over here. I don't have in my Corolla. A very shallow, not so much different than a Corolla, believe it or not. You definitely have a much larger middle console. It almost reminds me of the Highlander. One big complaint I have is the freaking color of these seats. As I'm going to show you in a second, try not to get these seats. They do have a nice pattern over here, but diamond stitches here. But try not to get this color. Like when I bought my first Camry, it was an LE hybrid, exactly the same spec, but 10 years ago, it gotten really bad, very quickly. Like imagine they get dirty by just sitting on them. Like they pick all kind of dirt and grime. I would try to get different color, or maybe invest the money and just get the cat skin aftermarket. They get dirty, and I'm gonna demonstrate. I'm gonna show you. So this car has less than 2,000. Like what's the mileage on it? It's about 1,000 something. It's already start to show dirt over here. Got it like that. So look, it's not like dirty. It's like, I feel like this is like somebody was wearing jeans or something. It's already showing some wear and tear over here, and the car is still brand freaking new. Okay, so I would avoid these seats at all costs. Look, it's over here. It's impossible. You're just not gonna keep them. You're just not gonna keep this clean. It's just not gonna happen. So coming over here, yeah, I'm not a big fan of this. They added this. I mean, the design is kind of like I don't know. I feel like it's almost like I'm looking at a city, buildings or something. Is like, I don't know. It's modern, yeah. It's modern. Unmarked buttons over here. They limited the unmarked buttons, which is pretty good. Some interesting design over here. Like, why would you put the 4 flashers here? You could just put them here in the middle and have even vents on both sides. And it blows below. I thought it's gonna be a problem because I'm used to for the air vents to be kind of like up, but that was not a big problem. Okay, but you do get standard over here. Look at that, a wireless charging pad. It's impressive, but again, when I remember how much this car cost as an entry level, I'm not very impressed. Interesting design over here. You do have 2 Type-C ports. 2 Type-C ports, but 1 Type-A. And unfortunately, this connected to your Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. I wish they did it backwards. I wish they had 2 Type-A's and 1 Type-C. And I thought, but just because I had a Corolla, I didn't have enough ports. I remember the previous gen, the one before, it had 2 cigarette lighters in the front that you can plug all kinds of stuff and charge all kinds of stuff. I wish they did that. Unfortunately, they had a car. They do have a cigarette lighter here, charger style, in your Giant. It's pretty decent size. Kind of like, it reminds me of the Highlander, which is very, very, very good. We have a new steering. Again, it's a modern steering with the new logo color, the gunmetal logo, which indicates it's all Camrys coming in hybrid. You have, let's fire it up first and see. They changed the chime for the seatbelt, which is a lot more pleasant than the previous gen. Oh my goodness, it's just, you drive around a block and it beeps at you. It beeped. Oh my goodness, much better. Yeah, so we have the 2 buttons. I did demonstrate this in my shorts. You can check them out, how to operate this. It's very decent. Nothing to complain about here about this system. I do not like, they did a lot of upgrades with their infotainment. You can actually now wirelessly connect it to your phone with the Android and Apple. But it is freaking annoying. Like, I like to use my headphones to listen to my stuff, podcast and all that. It doesn't allow you to connect with your headphones. If it's connected to this, it uses your Wi-Fi. It's good in some aspect and worse in some others. I prefer my previous gen because it only connects with the wire. If you don't connect the wire, that's all. Anyways, it's very good. It's very decent, and they did improve a lot in comparison to the previous gen. The lane keeping assist, it keeps you center, but you have to be careful because sometimes it freaks out whenever you go past red lights. When it doesn't see lines, you know, when you pass in a traffic light and there's no lines, and then once there's a lane, the car freaks out and sometimes chooses the wrong lanes. Sometimes it chooses the shoulder, sometimes chooses the one to the left. It literally does this. So be careful. I had a few incidents where it slams on the brake for no freaking reason, but it is much better than the previous one. The previous one, I do love the 2.0, the lane keeping assist. I keep this one off in the previous because it keeps beeping, and when it does the correction, it does it like a drunk person. Like it bounces between the lane like that, and keep beeping at you. So I just turn it off. And this car actually does a lot better. It does a lot better. It doesn't beep at you. It just, you get some kind of feedback once you cross in a lane. It kind of trying to steer you back into the lane, but nothing crazy. Doesn't beep at you, which is pretty good. And here the distance. The new setup over here, they moved the volume over here. The mode, if you press and hold, that's still for the mute. I personally, if you ask my opinion, I like the old stock that's sticking out like that. You press, you activate, you set. I remember it's a down, you set, up, you resume. It's just simple instead of like I have to trying to figure out what everything is. It does look modern, which that's the main purpose of this car. And yeah, and now let's take it for a drive. So taking the car for drive, right here we have, I've owned a lot of Toyotas and drove all of them pretty much since the 90s. And ever since like 2002, 2003, that's when it started to become that extreme comfortable. And it does carry on the same thing. There's one thing I would say about Toyota. It's true to itself. Still that reliable, that kind of car, they would have for extremely long time with no maintenance basically. But start to become a little bit challenging, even though with the price, a lot of people's like, okay, well, the starting price for these cars now is like what, 20, like almost 30 as tested right now. This is the base model. Even though if you adjust for inflation, it's not a lot more expensive than it used to be 10 years ago. Like I bought my Camry hybrid 10 years ago from Hudson Toyota in New Jersey for about $23,000. If you adjust the inflation, it's about the same price as this car, but yet you don't have the features that this car gives you. Yet I still say back then it was a better deal than it is now, because back then Corollas were terrible cars. Like they were extremely basic, super small, very uncomfortable cars. And the RAV4, they were just starting. It's kind of like also the same deal. So the Camry was the sensible choice. So that what makes it now extremely, and also the Prius is kind of like, I don't want to be looked at that. It was like the Tesla at the time, you know. It was the car that, you know, environmental conscious people sort of like, oh, I don't want to portray this image or whatever. It's kind of like there's a lot of politics behind it. So you're left with one car, the Toyota Camry, okay? And it was a great choice until now. With my money, I probably would not get this car. Is it because of reliability? Nope. It's still a great vehicle. They still build one of the best, and they still, as I mentioned, it's a carryover from the previous gen, which we've seen it on the road with hundreds of thousands. Like, this is the type of engine that will go 500,000 miles, no problem. And it's, especially in this car, it's extremely under stressed. Like, you barely can hear the engine, and it gets up to speed. It does what it's supposed to do without a problem. So, but it's still, the problem that I have is justifying the purchase. If you ever checked out the Corollas, it's like you still can get them Corollas cost almost $10,000 cheaper than this car, and there's nothing, and it can do 99%, almost 99% of what this car can do, okay, with $10,000 cheaper. I understand it's not the gasoline Camry, the Corollas get about 40 miles a gallon, okay, get about a 40 miles a gallon. Some people probably do not even need the hybrid, okay, so they limit that to the hybrid only, which is good. Most people buy these cars like do deliveries and like can stop and go. But some people, they probably, I live on a highway, you know, all I do is commute on the highway. You have one less thing to worry about for longevity. It's simpler to work on, and it's $10,000 cheaper, and it's just as smooth, okay? Maybe a little bit smoother here, but yet it's a lot better, in my opinion. You get a lot more bang for your buck, okay? Option 2, which is around the same range of a price, you have the RAV4. The RAV4 is an incredible car, and around the same price, okay, the base model. And if you want to get a hybrid, okay, maybe you upgrade for $1,000 to $1,000 or $2,000 more, you get the hybrid. And yeah, you're probably not getting, because it sits high. In my opinion, I see that to be more practical, especially if you live in the Midwest in a colder climate. It has a more clearance. I'll probably choose that one over this one, okay? And the third one, again, the Prius. Now the Prius, they're not as bad. They don't look terrible. Actually, they look pretty good. They're very nice, and they're about the same price. So why the Camry, right? Why the Camry? I really do not see. I feel like the competition with Toyota completely destroyed Toyota, because it became, you have so many other and better options. In my opinion, you'll get a lot more bang for your buck if you do get a Corolla. I got mine for about 23, and that was in 2022. I know it's probably went up a little bit, but it's far cheaper than this car. This car is like 30 grand. But yet, I think it's a great car. It's still the same car that it's always been. Very comfortable. And this is the closest you get to a magic carpet. Extremely smooth. All the features that you can also get on a Corolla, because that's the standard, all models, all new ones. They basically have the same system on the standard, okay? So, great car. But probably I would not buy, because it just doesn't make sense anymore, okay? That's my 2 cents. If you guys like this type of content, please let me know. Yeah, leave them in a comment. Thank you guys for watching. Peace.